And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. You're watching FYNTV.com. And we're excited. Hold on. I'm good. Am I not on?
Yeah, you're on.
All right. Well, you're pointing to my lapel.
You're good.
Sorry, Cole. You're watching FYNTV.com. And also, we're excited this morning that we're also streaming live on Facebook, FYNTV.com, and YouTube. So this is going out. We're doing that this week, started this week, sending it to 3 different locations. Now, in Georgia, before I introduce my next guest here, in Georgia, Governor Nathan Deal has been very busy appointing people to different positions in the judicial system in the state of Georgia, and he has tapped State Senator Charlie Bethel for appeals court and from the 54th District. Now, one of the things I'd like to bring up that my guest here is Conda Goodson, and welcome, Ms. Goodson. How are you?
Thank you for having me this morning.
Before we get into our discussion, Ms. Goodson ran against Mr. Bethel for the 54th District in the primary, and the day after the election, the very day after the election, Governor Deal appointed Mr. Bethel, the state senator from the 54th District, to the appeals court. That is going to cause a special election here in Georgia. There is a special election. It's costing an average of $15,000 per county to do this special election, and that's just the minimum cost to the county. And the qualifying is Thursday, and the early voting starts November 28th, and actual election day is December 13th, and that is for State Senate District 54.
Yes.
Welcome, Ms. Goodson. How are you?
Thank you. I'm excited.
Now, you ran against State Senator Charlie Bethel in the primary.
Yes, I did.
And why do you think, well, let me ask you first before we get started in any other questions. Why are you pursuing this again? Why are you running now?
Because every reason I ran before is still there. Everything I think that our communities deserve is still there, worth fighting for. And God put me in His place for a reason, and I'm not going to back down from this.
Now, you immediately, today, you're going straight from here to Atlanta to qualify
Yes,
today?
Sir.
Can I say that? So today, in a couple hours, you'll be in Atlanta qualifying for this race. Why do you think the governor let the District 54, because that would be one of my questions, and maybe he didn't, but why does it seem like he let District 54, the state senate district here in Georgia, go through the total election cycle, go through the cost of the election, and the day after appoint this senator to that he hasn't been sworn in for this term?
No.
Why do you think they did that?
My personal opinion, crony capitalism. So the establishment can gain control or remain in control with such a short campaign cycle, especially with Thanksgiving right in the middle of it. It's going to come down to who's got the most money and who's got the most friends.
So I haven't been contacted by any other candidates, and I will say this: Ms. Goodson contacted us and told us she was going to seek this office for State Senate 54, and we're always open to talking to candidates, and we thought it was a very interesting race here for the State Senate district here. What are some of the things that you ran on the first time? What are some of the issues you ran on the first time that you could share with voters as the reason you're coming back at it and you feel they should elect you?
Well, I believe we should be getting our freedoms and liberties back instead of more taken away from us. And in this area, we pay more in taxes annually than we do for food and housing combined. That's too much. There's too much government waste that needs to be stopped. We need to have government for our communities and not for Atlanta and the other big cities across Georgia. We need to get our taxes back to work in our communities. With the new election of the president, we in the Republican-held Senate and House, we have a lot of opportunities coming our way, and we need to get our communities ready for the new job growth that's coming our way. We got to have our infrastructure and our employment force ready and prepared for this so that we can get these jobs and these businesses here.
Now, what area, let me just change subjects real quick. What area does the State Senate District 54 encompass? What counties does that encompass?
It's Murray, Whitfield, East Pickens, and North Gordon.
Okay. Now, the session that is about to take place in Atlanta for the state, let's stay focused on that. What are some of the things that you see coming up in this year's state legislative session under the Gold Dome? Some of the things that you hear may be happening, some of the bills out there from last year. What are some of the things that you would want to address immediately, or the concerns with the state legislature for 2017 if you were elected?
Well, first of all, I'm more impelled to do away with bills and laws in place that's hurting us. But the ones that is important enough to fight for, that is in the past, that needs to be brought up, is of course, our freedom of religion. We have to fight for our freedom of religion. And our Second Amendment rights. We need to assure that we can contain our Second Amendment rights. And I feel like with the amendment vetoed for the schools, that they're going to start trying to make laws and bills against that to try to retain more control over the schools and stuff. And I feel like our schools belong in control of our local communities, because you know what's best for your students versus me. I mean, that's just how I see it. The government does not need to mess with our schools, and I feel like that's going to be a big part of this session.
Well, I think since the governor's Amendment 1 was voted down by the citizens as a constitutional amendment, I do think there may be some things in this next session. But what about, there's several things come to mind. It sounds like casino gambling will come back up. Where do you stand on that?
I personally do not favor it because of the other attributes that'll come with it, but I do believe it should be put on the ballot and let we the people decide. This should not be decided in that dome. It should be decided by the majority of the people across this state, because it's that important. It's going to affect every single citizen in Georgia. Why not let you have the decision factor? Put it on the ballot.
What about that? Now, this race is nonpartisan based on the fact that it's a special election and it's being done quickly here. It's a nonpartisan race. But do you care to share a party affiliation that you have, or what your ideology is? How you identify yourself?
Of course, I am a true conservative Republican.
So, because you don't have to identify
Right.
as a party. Do you think you have the money and the time to get the word out to the voters to be able to maybe pull this election off? Do you think you can?
Yes, I do, if the people will help, because it's going to be fast and furious with Thanksgiving right in the middle of it. So I need your help. I need you getting on the phone. I need you telling your friends and your neighbors and your family to get them to the polls and to tell them that Conda is the only one that cared for us when it wasn't easy. That together we can take back his government seat. We can take it away from the establishment.
When you say take it away from the establishment, let me ask you a question. When you say take back this government seat, take it back from the establishment, because we haven't seen the candidates that are in place yet. Besides yourself, I haven't talked to any candidates. You're the only candidate in the 54th district. But when you say take it back from the establishment, the state of Georgia has a Republican House, has a Republican Senate, and has a Republican governor. Who are you identifying when you say take it back from the establishment when it comes to the state of Georgia? Is there any particular group or any particular people? Who are you identifying when you say that?
Well, I think the people are waking up to the fact that there is an establishment that dictates a big portion of our Republican and Democrats in our government, both the federal and state level. And people are waking up to that fact, and it's time for we the people to have representation again, instead of the big business and the big governments and all that. Like, it's supposed to be we the people, for the people, by the people, not governing for big business.
If elected and you were able to submit your first piece of legislation for a vote, what piece of legislation would you write and submit for your district? What would you be your first piece of legislation that you'd like to get passed?
The very first one is our freedom of religion. the original bill presented would be the number one thing for me.
Well, what about the fact that that basically was passed and the governor vetoed it, and odds of it won't come back up? I mean,
If 75% votes for it, it will. And we've got some new faces down in Atlanta. And of course, I would be one of those new faces if y'all choose to elect me. That would be pushing for that. And if we get enough people supporting behind it, then we can still have it.
Murray County, the 54th district, all the counties, East Pickens that you named, Gordon, correct?
Yes.
Don't want to leave anybody out, but in those counties, in the 54th, I think I've asked this once, not that you didn't answer, but I would get a little more specific. In the 54th district, what are the things that your county, particularly your county, your district, that you need to go down and push for your district, whether it's something for economic reasons in the district, regardless of what it is, what do you think you need to go down there and represent the 54th district they need first?
Jobs. Our communities were built on small businesses, mom and pops, if you will. And the regulations and taxations from the state of Georgia are stifling them. I mean, I personally know 3 that has went out of business in the last year because of what the state makes them pay in the inspections and all that we used to didn't have on them. And if we release those regulations, then our small businesses can come back and they can prosper. And we all know small businesses create jobs. And why would we not want small businesses to succeed?
So, so you ready to go after this full time like you did
Yes,
before?
I
Now
am.
that
Yes, I
I
am.
will say, when you ran first time in the primary, I will say you worked very hard at it. So you're ready to do that, and you. Do you know of other candidates out there, or do you think the Republican Party is going to field some candidates and the Democrat Party is going to field some candidates that you'll be up against? Or?
I know of 3 that already publicly declared they're going to run. I would just like to remind y'all all that I'm the one for 2 years that have been out here campaigning. I have studied the issues. I have done my homework. I have done my research, and I hope and pray that I have proved to you that I am for you, the people.
Well, we'll give you an opportunity right now to tell people how they can get in touch with you and talk to you and be a part of your campaign. We do not endorse candidates here at FetcherNews.com, but we do offer candidates an opportunity to come speak to the voters out there in the effort to always get you more information when it comes to your elections. So you're more than welcome to tell people how they can contact you and where you'll be campaigning and things like that.
Well, my name is Conda Goodson. My campaign is Count on Conda to be your voice in the Georgia Senate. I've got a Facebook page, Count on Conda. I got a website, Conda Goodson, that's CONDAGOODSON.com. You can email me at countonconda@gmail.com or condagoodson.com, either one. You can email me letters, contributions, way to goes, questions, comments, any of that at P.O. Box 16, Tenga, T-E-N-N-G-A, Georgia, 30751. You can call, text, 706-483-7019, and Facebook. I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn also. I'm sorry, I almost forgot that.
So you're headed right now to Atlanta to qualify?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Well,
I am.
Ms. Goodson, we always wish candidates well, and we extend that to you. Let me just remind you, this is for State Senate 54. This is a special election in the state of Georgia. State Senate 54. Currently, the state senator-elect that is serving is Charlie Bethel, and he was reelected. But the day after the election, he was selected by the governor of Georgia, Nathan Deal, for the appeals court. So there's been a special election set. Early voting starts the 13th. Your early voting is always at your election office, your county election office, wherever it may be. Should be maybe in the courthouse or right close to it, but that's where your early voting starts. November 28th is early voting starts. December 13th is the actual election. Again, 54th District, State Senate District in Georgia. It's a nonpartisan. Again, we wish you well. Have a safe trip down to Atlanta, and send us a picture of you qualifying, all right?
I will. Thank you so much.
We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back, and I'm going to answer some of the text messages I got earlier today, and we're going to wrap up our show with some of the discussion. Hey, do you think the Trump kids should get the highest security clearance there is? We'll see. We'll be back after these messages. Cole, take us to break.